Birch Heights was already reshaping its downtown, but the council wanted more. Towards the edge of the city was a big piece of empty waterfront land. It was a quiet buffer between Birch Heights and Madison. The council saw that buffer as their next target. Annexation would boost tax revenue and give Birch Heights even more control of the waterfront. Madison, of course, objected, pointing to traffic problems, but the city showed it could provide utilities and roads. The annexation was approved. The land was zoned for high-density residential and commercial. So today, we're going to expand Birch Heights right next to Madison, the city that was literally built to escape high-density towers. We'll also fix a few mistakes from last time. Let's jump in. Welcome back to Ashland, and before we do anything else, there's a few mistakes that we need to fix, just a few things to clean up. And I think we're going to start with the easier one and we'll move on to the bigger one after. So right over here, this used to be essentially a container of water. There was two alleyways running through here, and they're both keyed. And so essentially I made a container of water right here. I've swapped this to be elevated and deleted the one that was running right here. But now I'm looking at this, and I'm not seeing any support for this elevated segment, which is probably not good. I don't know. I'm not a bridge engineer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to this bridge right here, and I'm just going to grab one of these pillars. Let's say this one. I don't know if this is a bit overkill, but I still want to get something in. Maybe something kind of like this right here. And then I'm just going to move this all the way down until I can't see it on the road. And now let's take a quick look and see. Yeah, it's still a bit rough. Still needs a little bit of work. And that to me makes sense. At least I believe it does. I know they're backwards, or I guess on the wrong side. They should be facing this way, but it's just a bit too wide. And I figured, maybe it makes more sense. I don't know though. Now because we've gotten rid of this road right here, I think we'll extend our pier even further down. All right, and then just try and pretend with me that this is connected to this. So it's kind of all one segment. Now this is looking a bit odd, but I kind of like how this one was smaller and this one was a bit bigger. There we go. And I think that's a much needed improvement instead of just having a container of water. Now the second one is going to be the biggest one of all, and it's our Notre Dame building. I really wanted to get this in because I thought it would look really, really cool alongside the waterfront. It just doesn't make sense. Really, this building should have been more centrally placed, kind of in the heart of the city. I was thinking about places we could move it. It's a bit long, and that's kind of the problem. I was thinking about trying to retrofit it in some places, but it would require a whole bunch of work, and I want to do it, but at the same time, I really don't want to do it. There's so much stuff that's happened here, and it kind of feels just rough removing it. My second thought was we could place it right here, still have it kind of face the water, and then just build around it. But again, I'm not sure yet. So I think what I'll do for now is I'm going to delete this building. All right, and it's officially gone. Now let's get rid of these surfaces. I'll keep these parks for now. And I do want to replace this building. And I think what we'll do is we'll replace it with the Ferris wheel. It kind of makes sense for this area anyways. And instead of going as wide as we did, we'll kind of orientate it so that the people in the Ferris wheel actually see Birch Heights. And they'd also see over here, which there isn't anything there yet, but there will be soon. And it'll look great. And they'll have a great view, I promise. It was either that or it's oriented like this. And that's how I was initially going to place it. But looking at it, what would you see? You'd see essentially nothing. And wow, lots of hearse icons, a few garbage icons. We have some problems to take care of after. Anyways, I'm going to place it roughly right about here. So we'll need to extend our alleyway out. And I do want it to be out a bit of ways. So maybe we'll place that right here. And now let's just soften this up. And I think we might as well just send this road all the way around the building. And I'm going to re-grab everything over here and set it all to the same height as this. There we go. Now everything should be, oh, it should be, but it's not. Okay, there we go. Now everything should roughly be the same height. And yeah, oh, wait. What's going on here? You missed the smallest node, and next thing you know, everything is just completely off. Okay, now everything should be 100% the same height without any problems. And yeah, I think it's good enough. All right, and there we go. There's a little Ferris wheel kind of right out in the middle of the water. Looks really good, I like it. I think this can still be cleaned up now though, or at least we have to find a different building to go here to replace our Notre Dame building. After looking over a bunch of different buildings, I think I've got a few ready to go. So we'll start with the Square Center. And this one has a requirement to unlock, I think it's 60 level 5 business buildings. And that's kind of a bit vague in my opinion. What is the business referring to? Is it commercial? Is it office? It's blue, so it must be commercial. But I mean, technically, if we could get a high density industrial building, it could be in industry as well. But I think this is the one that we haven't placed. So we have our Fashion Square here, and I know we haven't placed this one yet. And because the requirement is just a bit silly, I think I'm gonna place it down, and I'll do that right about here. And then on the flip side, we have our Skylines Heritage Museum. And again, I think this can work really well, maybe right here. And then to end this off, we have the Mermaid's Tea Lounge. And I think if we just pull these buildings really close together, let's say 4 of them, we can get something that feels super cohesive and like it's all a part of the same development. And maybe we'll just nudge this over just a tiny bit to be kind of in the middle of this area. I think that right there should do the trick. And then we're gonna match our normal roof colors. So we'll darken these up a bit. And there we go. I think that actually works really, really well. It feels like it's meant to be on the water. And so it's nice to be able to do that. Now for right here, I think we need to create some form of public transit stop. We have this massive mall right here, and right now we have no public transit serving this entire area, which is my third mistake. I don't know how I missed this, but I'm not gonna be adding parking. I'm not gonna add parking to our waterfront. That just feels a bit outrageous. But really, I think the big reason is, no matter how much parking I add here, in real life, would it really ever be enough? I would imagine this area would be getting thousands of people coming here, and just adding this, I don't think it's gonna do it. I definitely don't think it's gonna do it. So alternatively to that, what I wanna do is create some form of transit hub here. Really, I just want our trams and our buses to come in here and meet, and we'll send our buses from the Ashland County Transit Department all the way over into here, and then we'll send our trams maybe alongside one of these roads into here as well. And to do this, I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll grab maybe a pedestrian road, probably a normal pedestrian street, I guess. It's either that or we use a double public transport lane, but I don't know if we can actually upgrade this to have our tram lines on it, so let's see. And no, we can't, so that won't do. So maybe what we do instead is just create a custom road, and we'll actually use the double public transport lane as our base. So we'll slide that over, open this up, and it looks like there's trams on here, so why don't we have the access? Bus only, shared bus and tram. Okay, never mind. It can be upgraded. I'm just not all that smart, I guess. But now that I'm thinking about this, honestly, ideally, we would just add a dedicated tram line anyways. So we'll set these ones to be bus only. We'll have both of them face the same direction, and we'll set this one to be trams only. So tram track here, and then we'll delete this extra one. There we go. Now that should give us a shared bus and shared tram track. I'll call it the shared bus and tram road for lack of a better name. And I haven't tested this, so I have no idea if this is gonna work, so bear with me. Let's say we'll go out 4 units, and then we'll go out 4 units on this side as well. And then we'll curve 2 units by 2 units, or at least kind of. And that gives us something like this. We'll flip the directionality here, and let's see, does that make sense? I guess it mostly depends on where the vehicles are coming from. Yeah, okay, so I think that makes sense. So they come in through here, they exit through here, and we're also gonna add one more connection as well. And I think that connection will be right here. So we'll quickly get rid of these little trees and our trail. And that'll allow us to send more vehicles in here, because right now, that was my 4th mistake actually. This road is way too long not to have some other form of entrance. These two, it's not good enough. Honestly, even this one is still a bit too long. This one I can almost maybe forgive. Either way, I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Otherwise, I'll get into the thick of it and I'll never stop. I'm gonna quickly connect these paths back up, otherwise I will forget. And now I want to add in the first stop, and I think I'll do buses because it'll be a bit easier. And our bus road is right here, and let's just use, I guess, a bus stop sign. And it really doesn't want to snap to the side. And that's kind of some weird placement that I'm seeing. I don't know why it's doing this. I guess the bus stop would have to be on the tracks. So maybe we'll give this just a bit more space. That way I'm not breaking anything. A median's kind of cool. Can we make it a bit bigger? We can, but at what cost? At what cost? Can we give it grass and trees? Okay, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. I like that. We're taking up a lot of valuable space, but I don't care. I think this is important. All right, now let's add our stops in, and of course we have to get rid of our grass and our trees, which is a bit unfortunate. Because of that, I think I'll make the stops down here, or actually I'll make it down here, only because if this route ends up bunching, well, at the very least, they can bunch on this road instead of bunching right here. And now we're gonna grab our bus depot. So we'll come over here first, and let's see, which route do we have? Well, we have tons of routes available, and wow, this is insane. This is insane. Is this just for this route right here? Where does this go? It goes to Birch Heights. 105% line usage. I don't know how many buses we have, but let's throw one more for now until we can get all this figured out. And then let's grab this last one right here. And then we'll send it all the way back. And because this is our actual bus station, I was naming the lines a lot more appropriately back then. So I'm gonna try and follow that. So this will be line 6. For right now, I'll just call it line 6 station to Marina. We'll keep the ticket price at $8. It wants to assign 5 vehicles. I honestly don't even know if we have that. And we'll make it dark blue like water. I'll definitely be surprised if we have that. Eventually we'll have to check the capacity of that as well and probably make some big improvements. And then for our trams, or actually no, we still got one more. And that's our bus station right here. And are we using all of our lines? Please tell me we aren't. We are, but we can upgrade. And now we have a few extra lines that we can use. And we'll pull this bus station again all the way over here. And I'm wondering, is it going to create a crazy route? No, it's not. It's actually fairly direct. The only thing that worries me is the extra work that it has to do. Is there any way we could send it down here? And there is, but we clog this road up. So I think it's okay if it has to go a little bit further past. And I was tempted to use this one, but honestly, I think we actually should use a different one. So I'll set a waypoint right here. And then we'll just bring this all the way back to this station. And then we'll give this one a name as well. There's not really a naming convention for the Birch Heights bus station. So I think what I'll do is I'll call it BH Station to Marina. And again, we'll have our ticket price be $8. It's only assigning 2 vehicles. I'm fine with that. And we'll go a dark blue, but this time not as saturated. And hopefully that actually helps me identify which lines are which. Now all we have left is to add another stop. So maybe we'll do this one right here. And then we'll just grab this point and drag it into here. And I don't know if I broke that. I can barely see the lines. Station 6 to Marina. Yeah, so that's definitely not the line. Okay, now these 2 stops should be operating. We have the Birch Heights station to Marina, and then the other bus station in Ashland Heights to Marina. That gives us 2 different stops, brings a whole bunch of people together, and now we just need to do our trams. And I really need to have an episode just dedicated to transit sometime soon, because I am in way over my head. I'm trying to think about all the optimal routes, and there's lots of different routes happening all at once, and that makes it kind of hard to plan. My first thought immediately was just to circulate around this road, but that almost feels kind of like a waste. Sure, it could drop people off at the key destinations, but also at the same time, there's not much happening here. And is it really that necessary to have trams just circulate around these 2 roads? We already have a bunch of stops happening here. This is kind of like a centralized location. So we have our bus stops, we have our tram stops, and we can see that there's lots of people here. So I'm just wondering whether another route here makes all that much sense, and I can't get it to make sense in my head. We would clog this up so much. So then my next thought is to send another tram route down this road. We could do a loop around somewhere here. Ideally somewhere where we already have the infrastructure, and it doesn't seem like we have the infrastructure anywhere. Although we could loop around right here. I think that's just what I'm gonna do anyways. I'll loop around this area, come back into here, And then this will go all the way down. There'll be a few stops. It'll come from this road into this road. It'll swing its way through and then just go back around. So I think with that in mind, let's have a stop maybe right here, right in the middle. And honestly, I'm not even sure if this tram is necessary. It feels like I'm just doing extra stuff for no reason. The reason is good. I do want there to be strong transportation here. Just maybe it's a bit too much. Either way, I'm going to name this. So Upper Birch to Marina. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So Upper Birch to Marina comes from the upper side of Birch down into here. I pretty much just want to get all of these areas filled out, and we're not too far off from it being done, because then I can actually properly plan the transit with your guys' help if you're willing to offer. So for now, I'm going to drop this down to 2 vehicles, and I believe with trams, we were only charging $2, and we'll make this kind of like a blue to represent the water. And now I just want to run this for a second and see how everything works out. Okay, and it clearly looks like there's some type of problem here, and I'm not sure what it is. They essentially get off the tram just to come here, but they also got off the bus just to wait at the bus stop again. So what if we add a little crosswalk right here? I don't know if that'll actually help anything, but I'm hoping it does. Okay, so now they're going to the crosswalk. All right, what's gonna happen? Is everyone that got off the bus just gonna get back on? Yeah, they're getting back on the bus. Oh, did I assign both routes to be right here? That was a mistake on my part. Yeah, I did. No, because it definitely has the lane. It says that this bus stop is assigned to it. So maybe it's not what I think it is. Maybe there just really isn't enough demand for this area yet. I was really hoping there would be, but I don't think there is. Honestly, I'd love to see some people just walk on through. Walk over here, that'd be great. Please walk over here. Please do it. Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. Where are you going? To the Mermaid's Tea Lounge. I love it. That's exactly what I want to see. I'm going to rename this person to their destination, the Crazy Colibri. Or Colibri. Okay, where are you going? You're coming to the bus stop. Great. Great. Okay, so maybe I'm not crazy. And you are just walking... Where are you going? Oh, to your car? We got to do something about this parking on the road. I really don't like it. Same with this road right here. These are not parking roads. And I think that just means we really need some parking. So let's create a little bit right here. I probably should have added some for the church anyways. Okay, I don't think that's going to be enough parking to actually fulfill the needs of this area. So maybe we can add one. Let's see. I guess first, let's get them off of this road. And I think maybe we could add this small parking garage right about here. I'm not a big fan of adding parking near really busy streets because it only makes it worse. Anyways, I'm done with parking for now. I want to come back to here and I want to check to see where all these lovely people are going. Yes, you're getting on the bus stop. Is there anyone else in this area? What are you doing? Oh, you're looking at the water or the Ferris wheel? That's pretty cool. But as far as I can see, this area works. People are using it to transport themselves around, and I'm happy with it. So I'm going to add in a bit of detailing. All right, and that's about done. Definitely an improvement. I'll miss the Notre Dame building, but I think it was necessary. It didn't make sense. I really tried to get as much detail as possible as I could in here, and then I started going a bit crazy, and that's when I realized it's probably time to call it and move on to something else. While I was detailing, I noticed we had a bunch of ambulance symbols pop up, along with a bunch of hearse symbols, and they seem to be mostly going away, although it looks like we have a trash problem at our harbor, and I'm wondering what is the issue here. I imagine this is probably just not going to be something we can solve by going over to our harbor. I think if anything, we should probably go to our incinerator. I think what I want to do anyways is add on the extra garage truck depot. I think this is kind of sorely needed. How many vehicles? We have 50 vehicles. They're all going out. They're all collecting trash. And this operates in the entire county. So definitely think we can add this on. What else do we have? Our storage extension. Right now, our processing speed and our storage seem to be about fine. Or actually, maybe we're processing just a bit more per month. So we could always add on the extra incinerator. I think we might as well just do it. There we go. Okay, so now we have a bunch more leeway in terms of processing speed. I guess we're processing more because our efficiency is higher, right? And it all comes down to employee happiness. That's great. I'm glad you're happy. You work all the way out here. You probably live somewhere around here. And if you're happy, I'm happy. That's great. That's honestly really great. I still don't get why they're happy. Maybe I shouldn't judge a book by its cover. All right, and then there's still a few areas that I think we really need to get filled in as soon as possible. And I think we're going to focus on this one right here. And I was considering what these areas are, and this probably won't make a lot of sense, but I thought it'd be funny if we made kind of the opposite and just to spite them. So the whole entire point of Madison and Ravenwood is it was made to separate themselves away from this increase in density. And now I honestly think it'd be funny if we send a slightly big road down alongside here, put a bunch of high scale luxury apartment buildings up, maybe even have like, I don't know, a little football stadium right here, maybe a small little beach alongside here. So I think that's what we're gonna do. So the first thing I want to get placed in is actually the football stadium or the football field. I wish we had a proper football stadium. And I want to take a look at the terrain. And yeah, we definitely have a bunch of things going on that we're going to have to flatten out if we want to work with this space. All right, and that should give us enough space. So we'll want to align this to be not directly on the shore, but close to it. And I want to point it towards the tower and the Ferris wheel. So right about here. I need to add this surface back because I forgot to change it from Better Bulldozer. I have it set to delete all grass surfaces because I really don't like most of them. Unless I'm adding it in myself, that's a different story. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it's this one. And maybe we'll get a fairly big parking lot. That's just a bit too obnoxious. I think this one can do. We'll probably have two of them. One here, one alongside here. For now, I'm just gonna grab a 2-lane road. I'm gonna snap it to the front of this building right here. And we need a main road that'll kind of snake its way through here. And it could be this one. Ideally, I want 2 roads. One will get closer to the water, and then we'll turn it into a beach, and maybe we'll have some parking on that road. And then another will kind of follow alongside the path similar to it. And we're purposely not going to connect into this area because, again, this is made out of spite. So we'll send this road up, and then we'll connect in. Now I was tempted to curve this in, but it just wasn't looking right to me. All right, now let's add some parking. Now I want to grab some sort of parking lot road. Pretty much this one right here is exactly what I'm looking for. And it's going to be really important, I think, for our beach area. And why isn't this connected to power? Oh, there we go. I think it's going to be important for our beach area to have some form of parking, and I don't want to do anything like this. We are going to need to do a bit of terrain work to make this happen. I'm going to start by pulling this all the way down. Now, essentially, I want to run this road kind of parallel to this one right here. So let's grab right here and we'll go down maybe 3 units, because I don't want it to be too far down. I want there to still be enough room for the beach. Now we're good to delete that. So I think I'll grab here and just send this right there for now. And I think I'm going to do a 180 on the beach idea. I'm just not fully sold on it yet. What I am sold on though is having some high scale luxury apartments, kind of just to spite these people over here, just because that's how life is sometimes. And I think we're going to upgrade this road with the parking road from over here. There we go, and we'll probably trim this down later on, but for now that should work. And now in Find It, we already have some of the buildings that we're going to use. And really it's going to be these modern apartment buildings. Really they're the only ones we have that are somewhat modern. And so we're going to have it front the water, and we're going to place one. I think the first one we'll have is somewhere in the middle, and it'll be right about here. And then let's drop down slightly, and we'll have another one. Let's try and go, I think, every 3 units. And then we'll put 2 of these together to have the same type of development or the same building. We'll go over another 3 units from this one, and then 2 of them together again. Now we're going to take our alleyway and snap right in the middle. That gives us 1 unit on both sides. And then if I recall correctly, these buildings have garages on the back of them, don't they? Yes, they do. So we'll also run the alleyway alongside here. And then one of these has to be somewhat of a main road. And it's probably going to be this one in the middle. So let's upgrade this one. And now we can either do a 2-lane road, or we could do something a bit more substantial, like a medium. And we would perfectly just have enough room for a medium road. And I think that's what we're going to add in. And we'll send this one all the way down to connect right into this road. And now we're going to add this alleyway to this road as well. For now, I'm going to delete these little nubs because we need another building to go behind these. And essentially I want to stack a bunch of density here. And I'm looking at these Chinese residential buildings. I think honestly they're exactly the right fit. Almost. They're just almost that perfect fit. But I still think that's what we're going to add in. And we're going to align them with this road right here. So we'll place it down, move it over. And I'm also going to pull it back just a bit as well. Give it some space to breathe. There we go. I like that. I think that looks really nice. Do the same thing over here. And now they can still see to the water. Kind of, for the most part. Then we also have these bigger ones as well. I feel like we could work them in. Honestly, I'd love to just place it right beside and call it one massive building, but I feel like that would just be a bit too much. So maybe what I'll do is I'll surround these buildings with these ones right here. Now I'm going to pause because I want to make sure this is going to look right. And yeah, I think that's pretty cool. It makes it feel almost like it was purpose built. And I think we could probably place one of these as well. I like the contrast that it provides. And then I'd love to get 2 of these just combined. Now I'm going to grab this middle point and send it all the way down. We'll snap onto here. I didn't see a reason to connect into here, but now I think we might as well. And I'm going to try my best not to make these symmetrical because I can see that I'm starting to make them a little too symmetrical. And that ends up being just a bit too perfect. I think this Chinese residential asset can also work, but maybe somewhere like right there. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. And I want to get a rough idea of how many households I'm actually adding. So I'm going to quickly draw a district around here. Wow, so we're already at 2,800 households. Yeah, I think we need to cool it just a bit. And I think what we can do with these ones right here is place them alongside this edge. Do these buildings have garages on the back? No, they don't. So they'll definitely need parking. Either way, now I'm starting to see a connection point. So we'll grab this alleyway right here, and we're going to connect it somewhere into here. And I want to take a break from the Chinese assets. There's just a bit too many of them. I think we'll either transition back to the southwestern or move on to something else. And then I think we need to break some of this up with some stores, some commercial, literally almost anything else other than buildings, because right now it's feeling a bit crazy. I'm hoping we're going to be able to blend it all together, though. I think we will. I think right here the first thing we'll place is a park, and then maybe just a dog park as well. Then for now we'll place a path right through there. And let's quickly see how many households. So 3,400. Yeah, there's no way we don't start thinking about services immediately. And this time I want to try and remember all of them. So go with the Southwestern Medical Clinic, and we're going to place that maybe alongside here. And then we're going to extend our alleyway. That way the building actually has access. Let's just take a look to see our upgrades. We have the extension wing and extra ambulances. And now to me, this is going to be even more funny. We're going to assign this medical clinic to also help out what's currently Ravenwood and Madison. And the idea is that this would be funded by all of this high density, all of this tax money right here. Also, I have all the name suggestions written down. I'm going to do a poll for them very soon. Sorry, I've been slacking. Okay, then we also need fire. And I think we want to go with our densest building, but we can't go with something very old because this is a very, very new area. And maybe we build this fire station kind of right here. This is, wow, 2 million. That's insane. It would be our biggest fire station yet. I think we might just go with the Southwestern Fire Station. It's still 2 million. Oh, wow. So we either go big or we go a little bit smaller. I think we'll go with the Southwestern Fire Station, and I'm going to place that close to the university, but not too close. Then we'll grab our alleyway and just snap to the side and connect it into the road. And I'm sure this comes with a whole bunch of upgrades. We have our firefighting helipad, our disaster aid office, which we're definitely going to add. So we'll place that right there. And we also have our training tower, which doesn't really say exactly what it does. Apparently it's on-site training that allows fires to be extinguished more efficiently, but there's no actual metric or KPI that actually says what this does. Is it improving how fast the fires go out? Let's say it usually takes 20 seconds. Now is it going to take 15 seconds? I don't know, because it doesn't tell us. Okay, now we'll set this to operate in our university, this district, these two. And honestly, we could probably even go further if we wanted to. We'll say Lower Birch and Rosewood, and then Upper Birch and Birch Heights should be fine. I don't think that we have to worry about them and fire. Okay, so that's fire, that's medical. Let's do education now. We don't have as much land to work with, so I think we'll go with the community elementary school. And we'll place that maybe right about here. And let's give all of our upgrades because we're going to need them. And I love this little playground, but to be honest, I kind of want to add it in right here instead. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. All right, so we got elementary, now we'll add in a high school. And we could probably just add in our modern high school. And I kind of want to add it right to the center of this road. Move it over a little bit, and kind of something like that. They don't have a perfect view, but they do have a view. And then what do we have? We have the dormitory, which adds extra capacity, an additional teaching building, and a mindfulness room that essentially improves the health and well-being of students. But again, it doesn't tell us what the KPI or the metric is on how this is measured. We're going to add that one in though, because it just looks a little bit nicer. And I'm not too sure that I want to go crazy on these buildings, unless we can find a nice place for it over here. And I feel like we kind of can. So we'll go roughly 3 units over. And now I'm starting to see that this connection should probably be made. So we'll add this one in too. And now I'm just going to go through and finish off all of the residential zoning. And in classic tradition, I forgot to add in police coverage. So let's get that added in before I forget any further. I'm thinking we'll probably just go with the modern police station. Kind of fits everything else that's going on in this area. And I think we'll place that right there. Okay, now we can finish our zoning. Okay, and for residential, I think that's going to do it. I was really trying to go for something modern, and I feel like one of the biggest challenges is there isn't really that many modern assets, and I could feel I was about to get very, very repetitive with my asset placing, and I don't mind repeating assets. I just have a problem repeating a bunch of them over a wide area, because it makes it look very, very, I don't know, kind of boring and mundane. Now, the biggest thing is that I decided to upgrade most of the alleyways to this very small 2.4 unit road, I believe it is. I didn't want to get trapped into using alleyways. And I don't know why I started using them anyways. It wouldn't really be the best fit for this area given how dense it is. Right now we're at 4,230 households, so I definitely think adding anything less than at least this road right here wouldn't make sense. Now I'm going to save the rest of these spots for either parks or commercial businesses. And I think along this waterfront, it'll mostly be commercial businesses because that's what this area is sorely missing right now. I'm going to go through and add some of those in. All right, and the commercial zoning is pretty much done. I added a bunch of these southwestern commercials just because they feel the most modern, and I was struggling to find anything else that kind of fit the area. You'll see a few different buildings like the Japanese one, some of the signature buildings from the leisure venues pack, and even some of the vanilla ones. They just don't really feel too modern, kind of like this style. So it was definitely a bit of a struggle, but I'd say in terms of commercial, that's pretty much going to be it. I converted some of the alleyways to be parking lanes, added a parking lot behind the school as well, and I added some alleyways behind some of these buildings because we're going to go through and we're going to add a bunch of parking blocks to each and every single one of these buildings just to make sure that there would be enough parking for all of these areas. So essentially all I'm going to do is grab this parking block, pull it all the way back, and try and match the actual capacity of the households. So right now this building has 60 households, and we have the ability to park roughly 100 vehicles. So that's about almost 2 per household, which again, I'm fine with, similar to what we did last time. And I'm gonna go through and do that for all of these buildings now. Okay, and that was honestly a lot quicker than I thought it'd be. Oh wait, I missed this one and this one. All right, now that was a lot quicker. Oh wait, I missed this one too. Okay, now that was a lot quicker than I thought it'd be. I feel like in total, we probably added at least 500 parking spots, maybe roughly. And now all this area is missing is some sort of green space, some park. So let's add that in. And I was thinking maybe we'd add one in here and over here. Balance it out. And of course, when we do detailing, we'll make some plazas, we'll add some pocket parks all over. But I'm thinking kind of for one or two big parks for the area. Looking at this dockyard lounge park, I'm wondering, could we add it in right here? We definitely could. So we're gonna. But what about right here? Ooh, a pool would actually be a really great idea for this area. So we'll place that right about there. And then what else? Maybe a few sports parks. So we don't have anything where a normal person could just go play, I don't know, basketball or something. Maybe we'll just add it in right here. Or we'll flip it around and have it face this side. That way there's a bit more room. Yeah, I think that's a good addition. Now, if we're going to do all this density down over here, I feel like we have to do some increases to Birch Heights density. And we might start right here. This looks like a great place to do it. Okay, there we go. Fresh new slate. Let's get some more density in here. And this building right here would pretty much take up all of the space. I think given all of the development we've done here, it makes sense to have a really big building right on the front. And of course, let's place a little pocket park right here. Now I want to add this one in, and I think right here is a pretty good place for it. And I want to give this a little bit more room to breathe, so we're going to move that to the side as close as we can get. Yeah, I'd say right there should do the trick. And then I think we're going to take out these 3 houses right here for a more modern redevelopment of this building. And then we actually do have a bit more space, so let's see, lot depth of 4. I think we'll go with that. I want to try and avoid doing too much modern development in this area. I kind of want it to feel a bit older. I know it's not much, but I think that's what we're going to call it. I want to continually increase the density in Birch Heights, but I don't want to do it all at once because I want to feel like things are changing over time. Now for this area, we've added 4,230 residents. So I think things are looking pretty good here. I'm going to let things play out for a second and just watch all the traffic madness come in. And after watching that unfold for a bit, I didn't add death care. Oh my, okay. I need to delete this fence and re-add it back in and to fix some of these intersections. How could I forget death care? What is wrong with me? I don't get it. And I'm thinking crematorium, but my heart says cemetery. And let's see. Oh wow, it's sorely needed all over this area. I really think I'm gonna go with the cemetery. Yeah, I think I'm gonna add that in alongside this road right here. And we might as well just add in all the upgrades. So right in the middle, we'll add in this temple. I don't know about this one. I'm not all that familiar with it. We could add the mausoleum, but I feel like that's doing a bit too much. I'm happy with just these two. And now we're gonna set this cemetery to operate in, let's say, these 4, 5 areas right here. Do we ever add death care for here? I honestly can't remember. I don't think so, but we're gonna add it into these areas as well. And that should take some stress off of the crematoriums in this area, which should make a big difference. Okay, so now I want to fix this fence before I forget. And I'll leave it there for now. I need to get some of this fixed up. So we're gonna remove the traffic lights. We're going to remove unsafe. This will be a priority along with this. This is a priority. I'm not going to touch this one. This is stop. Yeah, and I'm starting to see a problem with this. I don't like that people are using this as a shortcut. And I guess that's kind of my fault for designing it to be a shortcut. So for now, I'm just going to do something like this. It's not really the greatest solution, but it is a solution. So I'll take it. I added in medical care, right? I'm 100% certain I added in medical care, but I didn't set it to this area. You're kidding me. Wow. Well, that makes sense why all these ambulance icons are popping up. And now that I'm thinking about this, the schools should be set to these areas as well. And we're gonna accept their spillover. And the police station should be set to these areas. Maybe, no, I think we'll just keep it at these areas alone. And we're already at max capacity. How many students? 8,665 residents. Wow, that's kind of impressive. No wonder why we're at max capacity. We could probably add another one right here. And that's 1,500 students. And I still don't even think that's enough. No, it's not. We have 1,700 children here. We can get just... Oh wait, no, that's only 650. Now it's 750. That's rough. That's really rough. How's this area on children and schools? 1,000 children and 1,000 students. Not bad. I don't really want to add the upgrade to this, but I think we might. And wow, the school wasn't even set to these two districts. So we'll set it to these two, and we'll also add in this new one. And then I think we're just going to add a direct path across. Not exactly the most ideal situation. And you just love to see the traffic situation unfold. Not really much we can do about it because most of our problems come from people wanting to enter the city. Since this intersection already has a light, let's just give this a 3-lane asymmetrical. So we'll remove the parking and give 1 lane dedicated for turning. Wow, this is getting actually pretty bad. We have a crematorium up here. So let's add in our additional incinerator. And are we using all of our hearses? Yes, we are. So we'll also add in 2 hearse garages, plus the refrigerator expansion. And let's just see what districts this is set in. Yeah, all this looks good to me. And we still have a garbage problem down here in the Ashland Harbor. And it makes sense. This is fairly far away, but in terms of stored garbage and processing speed, it's doing pretty well. I'm very surprised to see how much this is actually piling up. Like, there is a surprising number of waiting for ambulances and waiting for hearses. And this is a pretty good medical clinic. And we're not even using all of our ambulances, which means... Okay, so it's dispatched. Where is it dispatched from? Oh no. Yeah, there's a problem. So let's set this to only operate over here. That should already be a pretty big fix. What about you? Where is this one dispatched from? Same thing, I'm guessing? Yeah. How is our crematorium in Birch Heights doing? Yeah, so it's processing 171 out of 150 bodies per month. So this isn't really a vehicle thing. This is more of just a crematorium thing. It's kind of maxed out. Could we add a second one if we wanted to? We could. The only thing that worries me is that this road might get a bit jam-packed. We can already see it's starting to have some problems. Nothing too crazy. Just lots of stuff happening, lots of hearses entering and leaving. So this may be something that we don't add another one to, just to stack onto more problems. And obviously the problem is that everyone's stuck in traffic. Yeah, there's a hearse. There's 3 hearses in a row. Another one. Another one. Yeah, so they're all stuck in traffic. No wonder why there's so many hearse icons here. I think something we'll do for now is add in a connection from our highway to this road right here. Now this won't be a full complete connection, so we won't make all of our movements, but I figure having something is better than having nothing, so we'll do something kind of like this. And now we're just going to remove the lights and trust that people are smart enough to merge in. But we'll make both of these a priority along with these two. We're going to remove any unsafe movements, so this is only for coming in. That's it. Now I'm going to set this to stop. We have all these pedestrians crossing this road. We don't have any alternative means to cross this road right now, like a pedestrian bridge. So because of that, if they're coming in here, I expect them to stop. And there we go. That's not a complete solution, but hopefully it'll alleviate some pressures. And how are things looking down here? Yeah, it's still pretty rough. Still pretty rough. It keeps going. And no wonder why there's so many issues here. All of these taxis have taken this as a shortcut. They've come all the way down here just to turn again right here, just to come into here. Okay, and things are finally starting to clear up a bit. But over here, our trash is starting to become a bigger problem. So let's take a bigger look at this and just see what's going on. And for the most part, everything is pretty good. There's only really a few buildings which are far apart from everything else that are having the issue. And of course our school is having the issue. That's really unfortunate. The only way I can think about alleviating this before it gets even worse is to add some sort of recycling center up in this area. But that's putting a lot more stress onto this road. And this road already has a bunch of stress. Well, really only when we're zoning in a bunch of new areas. Usually it's flowing pretty smoothly. Still, I think either way, we probably should add another recycling center in. And actually, I think the best place for this recycling center would be more so up here, because then they're able to follow this road down and they have access to this entire area. And we don't need to put so much stress on this part of the road. So I think over here is going to make the most sense. And we'll place that right about there. Now we're going to add on the garbage truck depot. I think we might as well add on the storage extension as well, because I can imagine this building is going to get a good amount of use. Now we'll select this building to only operate in this area. Everything else should be covered pretty well by all of our other existing buildings. How are things looking down here? Yeah, it's definitely getting better. Most of our taxis are leaving the city, which is great. And the queuing is definitely a lot shorter than it used to be. And we don't have a bunch of hearses backed up here. I think we're also going to add a little post office as well. And maybe we'll add that probably not too close to this road, otherwise this road will get even further jam-packed when it comes to rush hour. And we don't want it somewhere ideally that would have easy access for the citizens. And it looks like we could just barely fit it right here. We have to overlap with this path and get pretty close to this building, but I think we can make it work. And now we'll set this to only operate in this new district right here. And then we'll just add a few mailboxes around. And then because I can see this area getting pretty bad with traffic later on, I tried to keep them off all of the main roads and mostly on the alleyways. Okay, now it seems like most things are running pretty smoothly for now. So before we detail, let's just make one quick adjustment, and we're gonna add a tram stop. The only thing is ideally this tram stop would be on the right side of the road, and right now our tracks are in the middle, but I think we'll add one right here as well, so that should provide good coverage for now. Then let's just grab our tram line, and of course I put it on the wrong side, so we'll have two of them, I guess. Honestly, it makes sense anyways, one to stop on this side, one to stop on that side. Now we have transit, kind of. We have all of our services. I'm almost 100% sure I'm not forgetting any services. Now with all of that, we will fix our transit citywide soon. We're almost there. I just need to be filtered a little bit more, and I still want to add the subways into this area down here, alongside here. And ideally, this entire area gets dense enough where it makes sense to justify the subways all alongside here, which was really another reason for developing this area. It helps justify the future subways that'll go along here. Otherwise, if it's not dense enough, it doesn't really make sense. But now with all of that said, we're finally ready to hop into detailing. And for detailing, I'm just going to kind of do the same thing that I usually do. Fill in the spaces with parks, try and create some plazas, have a bunch of paths run through here, try to improve connectivity as much as possible. Let's jump into detailing. Alright, and that's going to do it for detailing. I wasn't too sure what to do with this shoreline right here, so I just decided to do pretty much nothing. I actually kind of like the way it looks with the trees anyways. Maybe we'll do something in the future. I'm just not sure really of what to put on here. I also left this space open just in case we want to reroute this road through here and then send a bridge alongside. Haven't really developed this area yet, so don't know what it's going to look like, but I feel like we'll probably want some type of connecting bridge, maybe from one of these points and one of these points right here. And then for the detailing itself, I just really went through and tried to make it different than this area, but also kind of the same, I guess. I added a few car-centric uses, and I put it right on this arterial. And I was so against it, but then I was looking at this space and I'm like, I mean, it just makes sense. The only problem is this is our busiest road, but it's definitely doing better now. It's not so backed up and things aren't so bad. I made some of our parking lots a bit darker, just to, I don't know, make it look different. Instead of just having a bunch of gray everywhere, I think it looks a bit nicer to darken up some of the pavement or asphalt that's actually used. Over at our football stadium, didn't really do all that much here. Eventually I want to go through, make it really detailed, make it a bit more grand, but for now, keeping it simple will do. But yeah, overall, really happy with how it turned out. All right, with all of that, let's jump into a quick before and after. And that is a wrap. Overall, really happy with how this turned out, and really glad I didn't go with the beach. But my biggest regret of this entire episode is allowing the Mediterranean Elementary School to accept spillover from the new district. Given that this area opposes everything they built, I'm not so sure if a grudge will allow for such things. I feel like the Madison area could have a capacity for 1 billion students and still not allow a single one from this new area. Either way though, really hope you enjoyed and thanks for watching. As always, super big shout out to our amazing Patreon members Jake Hill, Gary Key, Deku, Ganger, Griffin, and Alpha Supreme. If you want to help support the channel, or just check out Ashland for yourself, head over to Patreon. If you haven't already, a like, comment, and subscription really go a long way. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one.